Hi, Parker.
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Or should I say Selma-Nilla?
Selma-Nilla is here today. Bagok?
I mean, you came in a full beat. I was so excited. I was like, yes, give us the whole vibe. I want everything live in action. Let's go.
She is here. Let's do it. We are fucking mama hen in the coop, ready to go.
It is my favorite. How are you? How is, life, quarantine? It's crazy town right now.
It is so nuts. One day I'll have the best. The other day I will have the worst. But that is life now. That is the new norm. I'm like really trying to push mental awareness right now because, we have to take care of ourselves physically and mentally. Yeah, it's so crazy the divide in our country right now. But, I know that we are on the right side of history, and that is what lets me sleep at night.
Hello. And a little bit of wine, and that will get us through many times. Don't mind me as I do. I'm literally in my pajamas. I told people, I was like, this is a late night. This is my first late night interview. I was very excited.
Oh, I'm in my pajamas too. I'm ready for bed.
I just go to sleep like this. It's fine.
I have to go lay on some eggs a little bit later.
Stop. I'm dead. Well, listen, for those that do not know you or are not familiar, which if they're not, they're literally living under a rock, so that's fine. But for people that know you, I mean, I know you first and foremost as a hair and makeup artist. We actually met working at the Public. We did a bunch of summer moments together. Remember? We worked at summer.
Oh my God. Oedipus. Or no, not Oedipus.
Don't school me. No. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to know the name of the show.
Oh, wait, what's it? No, it is Oedipus.
I think it was Oedipus. Because I came in for like a skip boop boop little moment of it, and you were already there, and Aaron was working there, a couple of our friends that are in the industry and work on Broadway now, and you had just gotten out of Mud, correct? Because you went to something at Mud.
Yes, that's why I was in the city. That was the first time I lived in New York for like 7 months, and working at the Public was like the first like cool job I had.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, oh my God, hi. And like I kikied with you because we had both gone to school and it was like fun. Oh, now we're in theater. Your journey was very similar to mine. So I identified with you and I was like, oh my God, I would love to work with you. You did, working and getting your education at Mud, body art, SFX, which I mean, we've seen it all. Clearly you're you're just so good at theatrics.
I like to dabble in everything, truly.
Everything. It's nice to do all of it. Did you ever, but then you went back to Florida, correct?
I went back to Florida for a little bit. I could not afford New York on its own. So I did a lot of wig styling at different community theaters. And then I worked for Norwegian Cruise Lines, did little cruise ship life for a while.
Yes, you did.
Got to travel the world.
How is that, by the way? Because I have never.
It's interesting. It's a contract that's not covered by the union. So like they truly give you so much work for the pay that you're making. But the payout is that you get to like truly go to Barcelona, like all throughout Spain, France, Italy, which was so exciting. But then right after that, I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to New York where I'm going to get paid what I deserve.
Yes. Yeah.
And it truly just happened. Like what is it? 2 months. People are like, I'll give you 2 months in New York. If you don't find a job by then, you're out of there.
Right.
And
is that what you gave yourself? Was that your little timeline of like, okay, let me leave Florida. I'm going to go back, do it. If it doesn't pop off for me, I'm going to go home. Was that like your little timeline for yourself?
I knew I didn't want to go home, but tons of people were saying that. They were like, yeah, it seems to be like 2 months. If people don't get their act together in 2 months, they have to go. It seems like natural selection.
That is nasty because 2 months I would literally be on my ass. There'd be no way. Like it took me, my God, I mean, at least a solid year to be really on my feet, like moving and shaking with clients and feeling in some sort of rhythm. Where did you feel? I mean, clearly you caught the wave because you are still here. You're working all over Broadway. Like for somebody that like came right out of school, boom, went home, did your thing for a little bit, like you said, dabbled. But then to come back in the city, listen, I had to hustle on some off-Broadway and regional ass theater for years before Broadway. You really was like boom, bam, probably dropped a couple resumes, right? And then we're kind of in the shits, which is so exciting.
Oh, it was truly wild. I've been wanting to be involved with Broadway, like on or off stage, since I was a child.
I bet.
So I got to the
Great.
city. You know Bobby Zlotnick,
Yeah.
Bobby Pins.
No, it's Bobby Pins. Yep.
He had done my first drag wig when I was like truly a heinous drag queen. My makeup looked like shit, and I was like, as long as my hair looks good, we'll be okay.
I'm gonna be
So
fine.
I ordered this like fucking $400 Bobby Pins wig, whatever, feeling my fantasy. When I moved to the city, I contacted him because I was like, can I do anything? Can I put wigs and rollers for you? Can I do anything? Like, I just need a job. He was like, yeah, totally. So I was working for him. I got some sort of like offstage or not offstage.com. Who gave it to me? It was just like an off-Broadway contract.
Oh, word. Okay, yes.
So I did that. And then it was just a few weeks in working for him. And he was like, do you have any interest working like backstage on Broadway? And I was like, yes, absolutely.
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
And he was like, because someone, they're looking for a swing for the principal track of Anastasia, however you say it.
Let's go. Yes.
And I was like, okay, great. So you're saying that for my first Broadway job, I'm covering the principal wig track for Anastasia on Broadway. That was the first day I trained on that show.
Yes.
I was so tired and confused and scared. It's
a lot to be like jumped right in, especially when like we have to really come together when you're working on Broadway to be like, okay, I know like if I'm here, I have to like own it. And like, cause I'll be so quickly replaced. So it's like, I have the moment, the opportunity is here. You have to like really give it your all. It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. It's intimidating to also put like wigs on principal actor, like on everyone in general. But like when it's the principal, when it's Anastasia in Anastasia, you're like, okay. No, luckily, Christy Altamere was so nice.
Oh, she's the nicest. Yes.
It was also intimidating to be like, okay, so there's two people that are under me,
right?
Under me, technically, that have been there longer. Like, are they mad at me for covering the principal track? You know,
coming in is like, I'm so new, and I go right to this top track, if you will.
Right. So it was so scary, but it was so fun. The cast was incredible. They were all so nice. Yeah. Everyone like held my hand basically the whole way. Yeah. And then it was kind of just word of mouth by that point, because like to work in this industry, if you're a bitch, you're not going very far. You know what I mean?
He said it, not me. Yes, 100%. No, but it's true. People always say I mean, the biggest thing I think we've said on this podcast is like, you can be a good makeup artist. Just good, not great, not grand, just good. And that goes for hair as well. But if you are pleasant to be around, people enjoy your presence. They can like be with you backstage Monday through, you know what I mean? Days a week, show after show, and they don't want to kill you. Wonderful. They're going to keep calling you back. It's a lot of like people skills. Yeah. Do you feel like you being a performer yourself, and I kind of want to tiptoe into your drag life a little bit, but you having that and understanding how nerve-wracking it is to go on stage, perform, do your best, and you might be coming from a day where you were exhausted. Shit happened with the family during the day. You didn't feel well, whatever it be, and you got to do your best. You having that face and that experience of being the performer, does it help you backstage and being the crew at that point of knowing like, okay, I'm aware of all the things this actor needs? It kind of gives you the little one-up of you also having firsthand experience.
Yeah, I think so, 100%, because, you know, actors, they have to be in the moment when they need to be, and they need to be resting, you know, the other 50% of the time when they're not on stage. So I think it's like that balance of, you know, connecting with your actor and being like, okay, so like you're off stage, I can tell right now if let's have a conversation, let's kiki, let's have fun. Or no, you truly need to rest. I'm just going to do your hair or your makeup, let you be, and call it a day. So I think like just to have that mutual respect is really good. And also like as a performer, you kind of like feel sort of on that same level as them. You all kind of just understand each other, and you're more outgoing than I would say some people in this industry are backstage. So I don't know, like sometimes the actors just prefer your chair or like you or, you know, whatnot, because you are fun and as outgoing as they are. Right. So like anytime I was doing like regional theater or even on the cruise ship, I would be hanging out with the actors more than the other people on my crew because we just connected better.
Right, right. And that's always the, like, we always talk about kind of the line of knowing, you know, hanging out and having authentic relationships, and then knowing like where you don't want to cross the boundary with your actors, and just knowing where to turn it on and off. You know, of course, get close with them. You have that authentic, you know, friendship or something that builds over time. I mean, God, we're working so intimately with each other. It's almost like, how couldn't it, you know, unless you really are just like, I don't do that. I just work, I clock in, I clock out kind of vibe. But it's hard not to. It's just knowing the respectful boundaries, and then knowing, okay, well, we're in work now. We're not kikiing at, you know, cocktail hour after the show or after hours. So it's nice to kind of find the lines and do what you do, but it's clearly worked for you very well. You've dabbled on a couple shows. List a couple of them for me, because I know I've worked on a couple with you, being Once on This Island, like you mentioned, Anastasia. What else do you have that you've gotten to dip your toes into?
Let's see. Anastasia was the first. The second call I got was for Dear Evan Hansen, which was also super exciting.
Fun.
Then it was Once on This Island, Carousel. What else? Head Over Heels, King Kong. Beautiful on Broadway, which was my longest. I was there 8 months.
I was gonna say, you had a little like more like short-term moments with some shows as well, right?
Yeah, so a lot of them were truly swinging, but then for like Beautiful, I signed on, like truly signed a contract for 8 months. Mean Girls, Lifespan of a Fact, which I wasn't there long, but it was with Daniel Radcliffe and Cherry Joe, which like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was kind of like you're segueing me to my next questions. If there's ever been people that you've either worked with or on a show where you've truly been like, okay, like I know we work amongst some of these incredible Broadway stars and just stars in general, whether we be on set at Fashion Week or wherever, and it's like, who stopped you like in your tracks? Like, who might be one of those moments for you, or have you had it?
The thing about our job is that we work so closely with celebrities sometimes that you have to keep your cool. And I've learned that fast. Like, you have to learn that as fast as possible, because they're normal human beings. They want to be treated normal, especially when they have so many fans coming at them so quickly that they don't want that backstage too. You know what I mean? So I was never that person to be like, I was when I was like a little person going to see a Broadway show. Like, of course I want a picture or whatever. But now that I work there, you got to keep your cool. But truly the one person that made my heart fell out of my ass was Daniel Radcliffe, because I had known I was backstage getting a tour, and I wasn't expecting to see him at all that day. But I truly walked around the corner, and he walked right into me, and it took my breath away. It truly did.
Oh my God. You're like, Harry, and he's like, oh, excuse. I bet he was like a love. I've heard he's like so kind and just chill and lovely. So I bet like, oh, my bad.
he truly is so nice. And part of my track was just going into his dressing room and just sitting there for 10 minutes. That was part of my track before the show, because his dresser actually did his microphone, strung it through his hair. But I was there just to check to make sure it was right.
Totally.
And so I just got to kiki with him for 10 minutes before every show. And he was absolutely lovely. Loves American football. It was on every single day. He had tons of just like fans give him like Harry Potter books and like pop-up books. And it's like, of course he probably doesn't want any of that stuff, but he's so sweet and he keeps it all around. And it's just really cute.
Yes. No, I love that. It is really cool where our job takes us in some really sacred spaces. And like you said, I love the note about, you know, just knowing it's like really once you start working with celebrities, like you said, I agree. They're everyday people. It takes a lot for me to be like, like, it's really just like, we're here to work. Now we're all in the same space. Like, we're just here to do what we need to do. And yes, you are who you are. And sometimes I zoom in and out of it where I'm like, oh my God. And you kind of like are in like, whoa, I'm in this space, which is really exciting. But it's just one of the humbling things about our job, where we do get to be in these intimate spaces with these people that maybe we do idolize or look up to, or have been a part of our journey to getting us. Oh, I lost you. There we go.
Oh, sorry. Someone just FaceTimed me and I was like, no.
It happens all the time. It's so fun. I've had people like literally lose it. I'm like, Zoom is a whole new element. But it's crazy to me. Like, I kind of want to not parlay, Rachel. I love to use fake big words and then act like I'm putting them in the right sentence. So go.
This is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, parlay. Parker. All right, but what I was gonna say is, you know how in like drag terms, in drag culture rather, like you have a drag mom.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who your drag mom is in your drag life, but I also want you to kind of like relay who would be your drag mom in the makeup and hair industry, who was maybe somebody that rooted for you a bunch, gave you a lot of the tea, got you prepared, boosted you up when you needed it the most. Who would be both on both ends for you? Who kind of sits in those places?
That's so interesting. So in drag life, I didn't have a drag mom until about a year ago. Marty Gold Cummings, she's a huge political advocate. She's running for city council. Incredible drag queen. She took me under her wing and has truly given me opportunities of a lifetime. She's so well connected and so knowledgeable of the world. She's always there for me whenever I need anything emotional, or career advice, whatnot. So she's always been there for me. I love her to death. And then that's interesting. I've never thought about having a drag or like a mother character in the wig industry, but I think it's kind of been a few people. I think it was Bobby Zlotnick, because he was the one who got me my first job. And I've come to you a lot for advice, like, am I being treated the right way? Or like, is this appropriate to be like done in the workplace?
Totally.
And then most recently, Jen Bullock, who was the main supervisor for Beautiful, I've asked her tons of questions. Like, she's on the board for Local 798. So
familiar with her,
any question I have, she's always there for me. Even just like as a friend, she calls me up like, hey, I just saw, like this happened. Are you okay? She's always there for me too. So
that's a good one.
But I think, it's kind of it's almost your supervisor. Like, whatever show, you just have that connection with your supervisor. Like Monique, for Once on This Island, I connected so well with Monique.
Right.
So yeah, there's been a few people that I really connect with.
It's nice that you have that too, because I think the most important thing in the industry is finding people that are in your network, that are your cheerleaders, your supporters. Like, it's not always the easiest road going into makeup and hair and being in this industry, period. So it's like when you do have people that are on your side, and that through thick and thin, and when shit does get confusing, or you're like, whoa, what's going on? And you need a source to go to. It is so nice to have people that are willing to share. You're fine, honey. We live in New York.
1 second.
You're silly. Go get it, baby. Bring the baby. And hi, little doggy. Hi, baby. I just think it's so wildly important. And some people don't have that. And I think it doesn't, I'm not going to say it shows, because I don't know people's lives. I won't make that judgment. But it's just, I would imagine that if you didn't have that and you're just going through this industry by yourself, kind of figuring it out, we've all made a ton of mistakes and have been like in those moments of like, ooh, I don't know what's right or wrong here. I don't know the route to take. So I'm glad you've had the people. I've had people too. And it makes the journey so much easier. So much easier. Do you feel like there's been a particular go? I want you to say what you want to say.
What's great about Broadway, I've noticed, is that for the most part, everyone wants everyone to have a job. Like, if there's an opening and you are unemployed, you're getting that referral.
Right.
So it seems like there's enough, well, not right now, but there was enough work to go around that everyone was sharing the wealth.
Yeah.
And it felt nice in that community as well.
Yeah. No, 110. I mean, Broadway has always been, which is so unfortunate that we're on a full pause and just complete delay. But I do just think once we come back, it's going to be like a insane kick. I just feel like the shows and these performances are going to be out of this fucking world when we come back. I mean, people imagine like having a year and some odd off and then boom, showtime. I am like giving everything I have for months.
It's gonna be wild. Like,
yeah,
are people gonna be everyone's available, but like, I just don't know how the resurgence of Broadway is even gonna look. Is it gonna look like Hunger Games, where people are cutting each other down?
Hilarious.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I had to like
perfect.
I had to fully open the door, and he was like, here's your package.
You're like,
they never bring it up.
Busy? No. Don't call when I'm recording. I don't know if you know, but this is my hour. I love that. That is hysterical. Do you feel like, I mean, you coming back to Broadway, okay, let's like do a little fast forward if when we're back in hopefully 2021 at some point. I mean, when I was working with you, I guess more so is a better question. You were doing literal drag shows at night, working evening shows, working double shifts on Broadway, you know, the matinees into the evening shows, and then bam, throwing on a face, which those that just know makeup in general and drag, this is not a quick beat. Like, this is a moment on top of your ensemble, your wig, everything. How were you able to balance being a drag queen and then also working literally full time, swinging and just running around?
It was truly wild because yes, I was, you know, like I was very successful working as a full-time swing on Broadway, which a lot of people don't realize you can do. You don't have to be on a show full-time. You can truly be swinging all around.
Yes.
So I was maintaining that full career while trying to like make a name for myself in the New York drag community, which is also incredibly hard to just make a name for yourself and break out.
Yes.
So it was a lot, and it was a lot of like lack of sleep. But like you said, I do remember a few times we would do a matinee of Once on This Island, and I would be bringing my makeup and outfit to the theater, getting in drag right after, and immediately going to a gig.
Yes.
You know, like
you would be like partial drag. At least the face was beaten done.
Running a show.
So be backstage like, oh, Parker, like, hello, like just fully gorge and then ready to go at the end of the night. I loved every second of it. It was like,
I forgot that I truly put myself through the ringer like that.
Oh no, you did. That's why I was like, how is he doing this? Because all I want to do is sleep on a 2-show day and run home and go in my bed. And he's going to go home on top of working and then give a full body performance. Like, what's happening?
Oh my God. I fully remember it would matinee. I did my makeup during our dinner break.
Yes.
Then we did another show. And then, that was like a Christmas party I did. Truly crazy. Yeah. Even up until Beautiful, which was one of my last shows before the shutdown.
Yes.
You know, like I was competing in different drag competitions in New York, like trying to win, trying to get my name out there. So like they were so generous. They would give me the time off if I needed to, if there was coverage available. It was a lot of people moving mountains to get me to where I was. And I appreciate like everything that everyone did for me.
Right.
But
like that says a lot about you though, too. It says a lot. I feel like your passion and your want for it, it shines through and it makes people want to help. It makes people want to support and be like, he loves this so much. He's not just doing this to get out of work or get an easy cut, or like, if anything, you're working more and doing adding more on your plate, and it shows. But also it goes to show the power of asking, because so many people, I think, in fear of just, I don't want to ask for too much, or I don't want to, you know, risk my job or risk this. It's like, no, sometimes you have to take a risk. You have to ask. You have to put yourself out there to get and create the life that you want. And it might not look always the most conventional, might not always be the most PC. You might, of course, rub a little people the wrong way, but then you got to make move and make room for yourself. And I feel like when you come along supervisors or people that maybe in the industry don't align with that, or get, you know, thrown off by, why are you doing so much? Why are you trying to, it's just their own insecurities seeping out onto you, where it's like, no, I'm not trying to not do the work. I'm just trying to do all of the work. And I don't see why that's a bad thing. Sometimes people are like, oh, but I'm like, just don't be jealous that I'm adding seconds onto my plate. It's not a big deal.
I know, the more money, the merrier, right? Like,
let me work. I got bills to pay.
My weekly planner would be a clusterfuck. Like, it used to be so full. I'd be at one show Monday to Wednesday, different show Thursday to Saturday, like drag shows in between. It truly was crazy. And I actually was starting to transition to full-time drag towards right when the pandemic started.
Yes.
And then the pandemic just forced me, like, okay, you're going full-time drag because Broadway is closed and there's nothing else to do.
Yes. Now, kind of tell me that, because that's 100% what I want to dive into, is just if this was going to be, first of all, are you just wanting to kind of put makeup? I know it obviously comes into play a bit with what you need to do for drag, so you kind of get to still work your hand. And social media is a wonderful blessing in that thing, where you can, of course, always hop on and do a fun tutorial, or like you do during Halloween. I live for the looks that you post. I'm
Thank you.
obsessed. So it's like you can still work your hand at the things that you've gone to school for, but is drag this is the trajectory? Is this what you want full time?
It seems like it is the end all be all.
Yeah.
And I realized recently actually that everything that I have done and learned in my life has culminated to the art form of drag. Like I went to school for makeup. I learned hair. I learned how to make costumes.
Yes.
I was a performer first and foremost before any of that.
Yes.
And if you add all of that up together, the equation equals drag, right?
Wait, so then am I a drag? No, I'm kidding.
Wait, am I good at math now?
I think I'm under drag now. I just had a vision like that.
You could. Why not?
No, it's not I'm not a performer, trust me.
You're like, this is not my journey.
Yeah.
So it seems like this is what I was put on earth to do. It makes me happy. I've recently been really struggling with my anxiety and depression, and this seems to be the one thing where I feel super calm and confident in. I still love doing hair and makeup. I mean, hair drives me wild sometimes because it's hard. Like, it's hard when you're trying to please a client and the client doesn't like it and you have to make adjustments on a wig that you've already set and sprayed to death. So it's like, oh, it's impossible unless I start over. So it surely drives me wild sometimes, but you know, I'm in the union, so I'm open to still doing makeup and hair always. When Broadway comes back, I definitely want to come back because I miss that community so much. But yeah, it just the way it was playing, swing work was actually hard to come by towards the end of quarantine. I was really just at Mean Girls. I was really only at Mean Girls for a while.
Yeah, I remember.
And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm getting booked doing drag, this might just be the journey. So like the week before we all went into the shutdown, and went into full quarantine, I had like 5 gigs that week of drag. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is happening.
Right.
This feels right. I'm making money and can pay rent just doing drag.
Yep.
And then everything closed legitimately like the next day. And I was like, oh, cool.
Never mind. Scrap it. Scrap the whole thing. No,
let's start from scratch.
Shit. It is wild. I'm just happy though. But even still, like you're saying in quarantine, I just feel like it really has made me, and it clearly for you as well, not only has it brought up definitely like demons and like shaken my anxiety and brought up some depression thoughts and just things that I'm like, oh my God, you're sitting with yourself almost too much, you know?
Yes.
It's like, it's so silent. So instead of being filled with the runaround of New York and busy gigs and the go, go, go and the adrenaline, when it really does all simmer down and you're left with yourself, you're like, oh shit. All right, I got to really evaluate all these things that I really didn't have time to. Even if they would sneak in a little bit, you didn't have to sit there and dive deep with it and really feel the feels because, well, you didn't have the time or you were too tired or you had the distractions. So I'm happy that we've been through this, and I'm glad it gave you clarity, at least for your line of work, to be like, no, this is it. And you tricked it out during quarantine. Parker, I live and breathe for the cooking show.
Thank you.
I'm mad that it's so good. I was like, okay, because everyone and their mother was like, I know how to bake bread now, and like all this crazy shit. But I was like, okay, and I'm not here for it. And then you did it, and I was like, all right, but I'm gonna watch. Like it was just like you and all. I love it. And also, I don't know how. First of all, do you just know how to cook? Is this like a thing we didn't know?
Yeah, so my mom went to the Culinary Institute of America, so she always knew how to cook.
Light flesh.
She taught me so much, and like truly, since I can remember, I would watch Food Network for fun. Like that would be my channel. People watch, you know, whatever the fuck they watch, Desperate Housewives, Real Housewives, all of the above. And I was just always that person who loved Food Network, background noise, really in depth. Not all those silly, like, guys' grocery games and shit. Like, I truly just like watching people cook.
Oh, it's the best.
And I've always wanted a cooking show. I tried to force my mom to do it. She was like, I don't have the personality you have. And then quarantine, I was like, I'm bored as fuck. I think it's time to try this cooking show.
Yes.
And You know what it's taught me more than anything?
Tell me.
It's taught me how to be myself on camera,
Yeah.
which you cannot learn overnight.
Oh, no,
It
no,
is
no.
one of the hardest things,
Yes.
but that's what it has taught me, to truly just not give a fuck and be my authentic self in
Yep.
front of the camera. And I realized that I'm a lunatic. I am a crazy person.
I have to give it away. Somebody lock him up. Yeah.
Truly.
But it's so good. But I love, it's so wise of you to say that, because it really takes an adjustment period. Because I feel like a lot of people, when you first hop on, me included, doing this podcast, you should see my first episode compared to now. I still feel like sometimes my voice changes a little bit to get like, hi, welcome. And I'm like, Rachel,
Right.
stop. Like, stop it. But like, you turn it on. But when you really, really, like you're saying, don't give a fuck, and you get into your zone of like, just relax. You're just talking. You're just a human. You're not literally on a network television show. They are not paying me money to say this. I can just live and breathe and create what I want to create. Granted, of course, there's always, you're a smart business person as well, and I will give you that, because it takes a lot of time. It's not just hop on the camera. It takes a lot of editing. It's a lot of thought out planning.
Oh,
Like,
people don't understand.
No,
yeah, people
they
truly
don't.
don't understand the work. It's
No.
like 2.5 hours to
Yes.
get in drag.
Yes.
And then you have to prep the food. So that's probably another hour.
Yes.
And then it's filming, which could be anywhere from 3 to 6 hours.
Yes.
Out of drag, and then at least 4 hours to make the episode, maybe another hour to make the trailer.
Yep.
It's a lot of work.
Gig. Yeah.
And I'm not getting paid for it, but I love it.
Love it. I
love it.
I know.
And with quarantine, with nothing to do, it gave me like a purpose and a schedule. I had to get it done every week.
Yes.
For no one would have cared if it was a day late.
Right.
For me, I needed to get it out that day. So it gave me a schedule, and season 2 is coming out in a few weeks.
So excited. I love it. It really does. It's such a cool thing that you mentioned, because really we need, I attach myself to my work a lot with my self-value, which I learned in quarantine had to be something I have to kind of put to the side. And it's something I'm going to talk more about later on, but it's interesting that, like, I've had people reach out to me and be like, oh, I'm sure you're busy. I'm sure, even though with quarantine, like, you're always doing something. And I was like, I'm not at all. At all. Like, no, this is the least I've worked since even becoming a makeup artist, period. I'm like, no, but it just is such a fun, such an interesting time. And I think it's super intuitive. And I think probably the most useful time I'll look back on and be like, thank God that happened. Not for the state of the world, not for people losing their lives, not for any of that. But for when you look in your own little tiny bubble of like what you can do in these moments, I'm like, all right, it really helps me realize the importance of what I really give a shit about, what really doesn't matter, what I need to put first when we get back into the, swing of things. And it's really interesting. Like you're saying, I love that you found drag. For me, I love being a makeup artist, but I love the podcast a ton times more right now than like going out and doing. I love this. I 100% love just getting to chat with people, talk about their journeys. This is like,
and you're good at it. You've always been really personable and really able to have a conversation about like anything and everything. And that's like really a great skill to have too.
It's so much fun. And I love getting people like you on that just like tie into it so perfectly. It's literally my favorite. And I want to bring it back to you a little bit, because I want to talk about, you had mentioned getting into the industry. We're talking about kind of like battles and things we've gone through. What do you feel like was the hardest part for you, or an uphill battle that you felt like you had to go through getting into drag? What was the biggest kind of like, whether it be your own mental blockage of imposter syndrome and like, oh, I'm not worthy kind of moment, or was it something like physical? Was it money? What was maybe a blockage that you were able to bust out of?
Probably just getting jobs.
Yeah.
Like to get my first show, I had to compete in a 2-month-long competition.
Stop it.
It was weekly for 2 months, and I didn't even get a full-time show out of it. I got like a tester, like a trial run show out of it.
Okay.
And luckily I got a real full-time show out of that. And then after that, it took months and months, probably even a year of just filling in for girls if they were out of town, just kind of playing the game that way, seeing where I could fill in. to get another show that Marty was able to get herself, me, and Kiki Ball Change at Playhouse Bar. So I was like, I have 2 shows now. But that was after a year of working so hard. And then after still filling in for more girls, wanting another weekly or whatnot, I finally was asked to fill in for Jan Sport when she was on Drag Race. So I filled in for her at Industry Bar with Rose. And so then I was given like that slot, but then the week that we kind of debuted that show, that was sort of the last week that we were allowed in bars. So
I know.
So after like 2 years, it took 2 years to just have 3 shows.
Yeah.
So that's probably the hardest.
The timing. I think people don't realize how much time it takes. They probably, if they were to Google or pop on your Instagram right now, they're like, oh, she's popping. Like, look at these followers. Look at all her content. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, no, I have put in so many hours and so many free gigs of not getting paid and working my absolute butt off to get here. And it's, social media is cute like that, where it's like, if you don't know somebody personally or their journey and you just are coming on to them now, which I'm sure many of your followers are, it's like, she's put in her time. She has really worked it out. And you're still in that journey of like, you're not letting up. Like, you're not just like, you're not getting lazy with it, if you will. You know what I mean? Like,
like even when there were no gigs to be had, I still wanted to put content out there because you still want people to, it's a big game. Like everything is a game. Like social media is a game. It's so crazy and it's honestly exhausting and sometimes it's debilitating because it's like, why aren't more people seeing my stuff? Why aren't people liking? Why aren't people commenting? Why aren't people sharing? But then it's like, then you go, okay, honestly, who gives a fuck? If this makes me happy, why do I care?
Right, you got to take yourself out of it.
Yeah, why do I even care? I'm just putting it out there for me at the end of the day.
Yes.
So it's just like there's a devil and an angel on either shoulder that are constantly telling me different things.
Oh yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's 100% because I'll be like, Rachel, be on your money this week. Post at the right times to get that algorithm right. Like doing the most. And then I'm like, like today I posted at like 2:30, which like, who the fuck 2:30? I was like, I don't care. I just want to post my shit. I liked my work. I didn't give a, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Cause at the end of the day too, it's like, I feel like it's almost like when you're trying to find a relationship, you know, a partner, whoever it be, when you really stop thinking about it, they show up at your fucking doorstep. But when I'm out here tricking, doing the most, it's just like nothing's hitting for me. Okay. So
it's so toxic to like trying to figure out, the whole algorithm. There's no understanding it and trying to post at the right time, whatever that may be.
Yes.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like my advice to anyone listening or watching is just do it. Just who cares? Post when you want to post.
I know.
Because at the end of the day, like, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for you or are you doing it just for the glory and for the comments and likes? So
right. Yeah. 1,010, which I think is all really good fucking points. My other thing is I want to know what is something, I mean, this is kind of silly, but I want to know, but what is something that you felt like is become your style in drag? Is there an actual category? I feel like it's silly to say only because I'm like, okay, well, you guys put on different like moments and then there's, you know, for this certain song or choreo, like right now you're in a full look and I've seen you in many looks, but I still know when I see Selma-Nilla, I know what Selma-Nilla is. So like, how do you guys categorize that? Because I know as makeup artists, it's like, I can say what kind of style I have and it might be, oh, I always do colorful this and then dewy skin, whatever the vibe is. But for you, what would it be?
Well, I feel like 80% of the time it's barnyard chic.
I'm not.
Because
yes, barnyard chic.
I am truly trying to, you know, my name is Selma-Nilla, so I'm trying to just use that to the, you know, I'm using it for what it's worth.
Yes.
So half the time I am dressed as a chicken or a pig.
Good.
But I don't know. It's kind of funny
branding.
Because
you're good branding.
Yeah, I'm trying to brand myself. But it's funny because about a year, actually 2 years ago, you know, my aesthetic was fully vintage, like pinup wiggle dresses.
Totally.
you know, like the hair was always high and tight. And a very dear friend of mine was like, you know, that makes you look older than you are, you know? And I was like, I didn't think about it. I appreciated the aesthetic and, you know, the fashion of that time, but
Yeah,
I didn't think about what it made me look like.
totally.
So I started to incorporate longer hair, younger styles, more
Mm.
fashion. So yeah, my aesthetic is barnyard chic, but
But she's modern, honey.
she's modern and she's trying to find.
She's fierce, and it's so fun. Like, it's so fun. I don't know if, I mean, I'm gonna 100% just like totally plug you right now because I love it. But I am dead as a doornail that you performed. Did you not? And you can correct me. Didn't you perform, not on accident, for Dua Lipa?
Oh my God. That
Like,
was one of the highlights of my drag career.
a full moment.
I performed Dua Lipa for Dua
Poor Dua
Lipa.
Lipa. I was like, wait, his set is Dua Lipa, and she's here. Like,
She
what?
is absolutely here. It was wild because
Yeah.
I didn't know she was in town. I didn't know that she came to the bars, lived for the children, and a DJ friend of ours, I guess, is friends with her.
Yeah.
And he brought her to the show. And at the time, usually at the end of a live drag show, you do a thing called a drag roulette, where you get tips from the audience and they give you different songs that they would like to hear or different artists. So like Britney Spears, Beyonce, like whatever they want to hear, this is the time to put that music on. And you do like 30 seconds of a number. Oh. And yeah, Dua Lipa came on and I was like, oh, I'm doing this, baby. And I did a little number for her and it was so fun. She tipped me. We got a picture.
I love it. Did you freak out, or because you were already like completely, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're performing, is it kind of like, I know when I have, mind you, this was high school days, okay, sweetie, so like I'm mediocre at best when I performed, but it really is like I'm not Rachel anymore. Like, I have to be something else in order for me, because I have insane, people believe it or not, stage fright. Like, I really, when I'm told to do things, freaks me the fuck out, unless I'm like, I gotta get in a space. Do you, when you're in that, but were you like, I'm looking face to face at Dua Lipa, but were you just in your zone of Selma-Nilla?
Yeah, I to this day get stage fright, which is crazy, but I think like I have anxiety, so I think it's just like a level of that as well, because as soon as I start performing,
totally,
I'm fine. Yeah. But it's just like that very 10 minutes before. So I started to do this thing where it's like, just start the show,
jump in
and just go into it, because like it's happening whether you like it or not.
I know. Somebody shoved me out there, I'll go. Shit.
And it's not even I think it's just uncontrollable excitement almost, because those are the exact same feelings in your body. Being nervous and being excited feels the exact same. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of both. Luckily, it was the end of our show when she came in, so I was already in the vibe.
Gassed up,
feeling my zhuzh and feeling confident. Yeah. So it was just exciting. Like this is a once in a lifetime chance, and you have to take it kind of moment, you know? Yeah. It was one of those New York moments that
it literally like an iconic New York vibe where you're like, where else does this happen? Where like a random girl comes in the bar, let it be Dua Lipa, and let me just jam out and have a whole evening with her. Like, that's just life. That's what makes me love this city so much. It's so unexpected in that way, but the timing is always so right. You're like, perfect. It just lives. Do you have any, I know you had mentioned Martin Cummings, but do you have anybody, and I know you do duos sometimes, like you perform with other people and you could do a little like moment and then you have your solo guys, but is there somebody that for you, I always call it a reach school. Like, that's my reach school. Like, somebody I want, like, you know, I really have to ask, either interview or do something with it. It's a total reach. Who's like your reach performing duo with you? Who would you die to kind of like do a whole moment with?
Oh my God. There's just so many.
So many. I know.
There are so many. I have no idea.
It's tough.
One of the drag queens that really got me into drag was Jinx Monsoon. Like, I truly love Jinx Monsoon. Her aesthetic, her comedy, the fact that on her season, like, she was the underdog and truly fucked it all up in a good way. Like, she fucked up the competition and won. Like, I had so much respect for her. So yeah, maybe Jinx Monsoon. Sasha Velour. I love everything that Sasha Velour puts out. Just truly sends me, feeds the children.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fashion or the ideas come from. Her brain is wild.
Right.
Simply wild.
100%.
So I would love to create something with Sasha Velour. There's so many. I mean,
I know.
And there's other drag queens too that aren't on RuPaul's Drag Race. You know, that's not the end all be all of drag either.
No.
It's an incredible platform for people too, but
because there's always do you ever see yourself in what you're doing with drag? Like, what's the bigger picture for you in doing drag? If this is full time, I know some people are like, I'm a makeup artist, my goal is to be a head, department head on these, Hollywood movies and what is like your end all be all with drag for you? What's the biggest legacy you want in it?
It's funny because for the longest time I kind of just did the like, oh yeah, like I'd love to have a cabaret off Broadway, like nah, 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 nah. Like, but everyone wants that. So I was like, you know what? I realized during the quarantine that I want to have my own cooking show on Food Network in drag.
I'm mad. I knew it. Parker, when I tell you, when I'm watching, seriously, I'm mad. And like, you need to authentically pitch it. And I need to find some producing friends and just plug you because it really is. It's almost like, okay, I can relate it to like when I saw like people in drag, men in drag, women in drag reading stories.
Yeah.
Like reading the stories and you're like, lit. Like we need more of this. Like this, like normalize seeing people in drag, doing things, being out. It doesn't always have to be in a nightclub vibe, in a performing vibe. Like your cooking show, which we're trying to pitch because we need that to go places.
Right. So I realized that I have wanted to have my own cooking show since I was a kid. I've watched Food Network all my life.
Right.
And, there's no gay representation, openly gay representation, as far as I know, on the Food Network. And I wonder why.
We know the hosts or certain people of the shows where I see it, like I watch it avidly for like baking competition shows and like, my God, like the British baking show. Of course we know. But like you're saying, open, it's out, it's a part of the show. It's a part of like that community is being welcomed in to like be targeted to watch. Like, not really.
And I mean, not to like toot my own horn or like just I think I'm funny. You know what I mean? Like I think my cooking show
it is my favorite. Yes, you are funny. Yes.
And because like I'll watch it back. I don't watch them like after I post them. I don't watch them. But I was just trying to make like a little sizzle reel the other day and I was laughing. I was like, I think this is quite funny sometimes. And I was like, no Food Network show makes me laugh. Like I watch it and I'm intrigued and I love a little baby likes to hear the door. I got lipstick on it.
Yes.
I'll watch Food Network and I'm like, yes, I'm enthralled at what you're doing and I love. Sorry. Stop right now.
Oh my God. He's like, fine.
No Food Network show, I think, makes you laugh. That's not their intent and that's not what they plan on doing when they film. They truly just want you to watch them cook.
It's usually really corny and it's not like I'm like literally like gut wrenching, like I'm laughing my ass off now. Yeah.
So like I would love to bring some sort of, drag queen cooking show to Food Network or even on Netflix, like I would do a series on Netflix or something.
I'm here for that. Yes. More.
Just because, you're right. Like the comedy in a Food Network is often pushed and ends up being corny. Like it not really makes you laugh, but you acknowledge that they were trying to be funny.
Right.
So I would love to bring like an actual comedic cooking show to viewers at home. I don't.
First moment, you're turning looks while you're doing them. Mm-hmm. It's always a different vibe. You're cooking like really fun thing, and just your interaction, like it just, and you feel like you're at home. I like that it's like intimate in your kitchen. It like I love it. It's not on this big old big set. I mean, hello dream, let's get there.
I mean, let's get it.
Intimate vibe. He's like, Rachel, stop. Yes, I need the
I want a set.
Rachel. But I love it. I'm here for it. I 100% back it. I think to wrap us up, because you actually have a show very shortly,
Yes.
and I want to make sure you get out and then do your thing. But I want to know, lastly, what is something that you're willing to share with us, something that a lot of people don't know about you?
Ah!
Like everything.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I have no idea because I'm truly an open book.
You
like
are. That's
my drag shows, I say things that shouldn't be said about my personal life on the microphone at drag shows.
Good.
What? I don't know.
No.
Maybe the fact that I really love Marvel movies. Like,
Oh, see, I didn't know. I'm learning.
I love Marvel movies. I don't read comic books. That's not really my gig.
Yep.
But there's a sweet spot in my heart for like Marvel movies. I just love them. I love a good action film.
It's unexpected. I wouldn't pin you as that necessarily, so that's very unexpected.
Yeah, I love horror movies. You ever
hit a Comic-Con and then go in drag as like a comic moment?
I've been to Comic-Con a few times and I should have gone in drag. Next time Comic-Con is a thing and allowed to happen, I'm going to take my Thanos look because I feel like that would be just fierce. I brought it to DragCon one year and it went off real well. So I would love to bring that to Comic-Con one year.
I love so much about everything that you're doing, everything you've put out during quarantine, before quarantine. I can't wait to see what's coming up for you. And I want you to keep us posted. We will definitely be touching base with you and seeing where your life is going and how things are moving with you. Thank you.
Yeah, there is some exciting stuff that I haven't announced yet that I can't wait to share with you.
I'm excited. We'll hold on to it. We'll try to do a fun little moment exclusive with Inside the Industry, something fun. I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so thankful for you sitting down with me today. I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I had an absolute blast.
Yay, with your baby. Thank you. Well, I will let you run. Get to your show. Guys, follow Selma-Nilla. I'm putting everything down below. Subscribe to the channel. Check it out. Keep up with him. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, babe. Have a good one. Love ya.
I love you.
Bye.